Since I have the freedom to do this, I'm gonna do this. 2 movie reviews in a day. My 4th movie review is gonna be the 2000 film The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson, Heath Ledger, Jason Isaacs, and many more. Now, is it just history repeating itself, or Mel Gibson getting asked to do a film about another independence war directed by Roland Emmerich, which directed Independence Day 4 years before doing this movie. Five years before this movie came out, another movie I talked about earlier came out. This movie follows the story of Benjamin Martin and his fight for American freedom, not William Wallace and his fight for Scottish freedom. Mind you that these are 2 very different time periods. And yes, Mel Gibson was just in every movie for a while after Braveheart, it seems, because the rest of the 90s he was in the Lethal Weapon series. And then this dropped in the 2000s. Mel Gibson is the actor of Benjamin Martin. Heath Ledger acts Benjamin Martin's son, Gabriel Martin. And then Jason Isaacs acts yet another villain type character. Which is a soldier for the British Army. This movie starts nice and quietly at his farmhouse. Then Gabriel enlists in the Continental Army to go fight in the war, regardless of his father Benjamin's wishes. Returns to them wounded. And obviously Benjamin's not too happy about this. And then Gabriel gets arrested by the Redcoats. So am I saying too much? And then, yes, you get to see Mel Gibson get back into the same spirit of William Wallace and kill a bunch of people as Benjamin Martin. Yes, after another one of his kids is killed, he goes into this rage. You clearly see William Wallace again, which is amazing. He didn't want... It was interesting to see how he didn't want to fight war and how he didn't want to live by that. This is basically just an American Revolution copy of what Braveheart was. Like I said, it was a different time. It was 500 years later. So the weapons were better. They had muskets, they had guns, they had tomahawks, they had curved bladed swords, they had lots of stuff. Benjamin Martin is basically just William Wallace again, but 500 years later. Which is what's so fun about this movie. To see them fighting, to see him fighting again. Although, yes, he never really fights Longshanks, he just... Yes. And the big battle at the end is basically just Roland Emmerich's version of the Battle of Stirling. But it's still a pretty good movie. I suppose it won Oscars in the 2001 Oscars. Because for the 2000 Oscars, it was a little too late. Now let's talk more about how long it is and what it's rated. Now, as you can probably guess, it's an R-rated movie, and it's another long one. with a running time of 2 hours and 45 minutes, or 165 minutes, which, granted, it actually deserved that much time. I don't know why my grandma would have edited this for my dad, because A, there wasn't any nudity in it. There was just a lot of blood. But blood I can tolerate. It's just a very graphic movie. It's just the violence that got it rated R. And yes. We're going to talk more about what happened later for the stars. For Jason Isaacs, doesn't his name ring a bell? For Jason Isaacs, he would later go on to act Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies. The second one was his first time appearing, so Chamber of Secrets was his first one appearing as Lucius Malfoy. And then much later than that, in 2019, he voiced the Superman in Superman Red Son, which is another really good movie highlighting a Russian version of Superman that you should watch. And then for Heath Ledger, he would later go on to act a character in A Knight's Tale. And what he's most well known for is the Joker in The Dark Knight, which came out 8 years after this movie came out, and won some Oscars for the 2009 Oscars, as the 2008 Oscars were basically done. We don't know much about Mel Gibson after this. We just know that he did make more movies after this. He was in a movie called Signs alongside Joaquin Phoenix. He was also in a movie. He was also in a weird movie. A comedy. Which I don't know if the comedy was after or before this. But yeah. Now let's talk more about that tomahawk throwing scene. Yes, as I said before, you do get to see Mel Gibson throw a tomahawk. It starts with the death of his second son, Benjamin Martin's second son. And you get to see him just go on a rampage with his two younger sons to save his oldest son from the redcoats. They're shooting him to kill them. They're using the axe to kill them. They're like... And he doesn't go all in until the last guy he kills. He's just ravaging his blood. He comes out of it covered in the blood of who he kills. That frightens the youngest son. But the son that's older than the youngest son says, "I'm actually glad that I got to do that with you." Not saying that I'm glorifying one to glorify gory scenes. Yes, I have to talk about his fight with Jason Isaacs' character. Aggravated by the death of his first son, Benjamin Martin goes to face off this soldier, which is played by Jason Isaacs. They're fighting. They're just two men fighting. Trying to see who comes out on top for the whole fight, basically. And little do we know, he just ends up coming out on the top. Not a surprise that he won this fight. That fight was orchestrated in such a way that made it seem like the other guy was going to win. Because he had just previously killed the son. Yeah, I've only seen this movie 3 times and this still holds up. Since I'm a music guy, we're gonna geek out about the music. This film was scored by one of the most revered composers ever, John Williams, who did Star Wars, Superman, Indiana Jones, and Schindler's List, which I'll probably cover a little bit later on. Which I'll probably cover a little later on this channel. And I'll cover a lot more movies like this on my channel, because these are the types of movies that, yeah. Anyway, back to the music. John Williams, amazing composer, the best, probably. If there's anything else I want to say about this movie, is yes, Roland Emmerich did a good job at this movie, and the cast did such a great job filming this that I probably wouldn't want to recast it. But if this film was being made like today, then of course it wouldn't have Mel Gibson or Heath Ledger. It would have younger people. But yes, it would still be about the American Revolution, and it would still be a cool movie. Likely still be R-rated. It would still be a long movie. But I like that it was made when it was made, because this kind of kick-started a bunch of careers and helped continue a bunch of careers. Like, this film is a great movie, and one you should definitely watch. And yes, if you do watch it, you'll love it, because it's an awesome movie.